Hi, today I'm going to be talking about cravings, sugar cravings especially. Now it's interesting because I had some health issues over a year ago and I changed my diet radically and I took all sugars out, which wasn't actually a problem. And obviously everything changed. My health was much better. It's just improved incredibly. I feel so much more energetic and no sugar cravings. So the chocolate that I'd eat would be 99% cocoa and no sugar. And the substitutes that I'd have would usually be dates, something natural like dates or maybe raisins or something like that. And then over the Christmas season, what happened was that, just before Christmas, I had a little bit of cava, which is Spanish bubbly wine, and then over Christmas I went to a friend's house and she is just this most amazing baker, and I had one slice of cake. What happened from that moment onwards? My daughter, there's lots of chocolates and desserts, and they've got these special polvorones, which is something typical here in Spain, is full of sugar and animal fat and so on, and my body just started craving sugar again. And it was such an eye-opener because I thought I'd cured myself from the sugar craving, and the moment I had it, my body just reacted. And then the funny thing was that when I'd have the sugar, I remember that evening with the cava and the sweets and the chocolates. I had some chocolates, which I usually have, pure chocolate. That night my digestive system, my stomach was rumbling. I woke up the next day and I hadn't had that much alcohol. But just the little bit of kava that I did have and the sugar and the cake and everything, I woke up and I was so lethargic the next day. The worst thing was actually the cravings that followed. And it actually took me a Ayurvedic retreat because it continued for weeks after Christmas, and I couldn't resist it. My body was craving it. And it was an awful sensation. It was really an awful sensation. And finally, I've gone off it now again. So we're back to square one. But it was a very interesting eye-opener because it was just the minute my body got that sugar again, I got that rush. I felt, all euphoric. But then the guilt that was associated with having the sugar, because I don't have sugar. It's just a misnomer as far as my health condition is concerned, and I'm just not going to have sugar. But the guilt that I was having, and I couldn't find that willpower again, because it was almost as though my body was stronger. Its cravings were stronger than my willpower, and that became very frustrating. So it was a very interesting process to go through, because obviously, I thought I'd gone through the process where I don't need I can control my sugar intake. But the minute I just slipped off and I went off the rails, it was really difficult to get back onto rails again. So I fully understand people who go off sugar, but obviously it's back to normal again, and my sugar cravings have gone down, and I'm back to eating different kinds of snacks. So what do? If I feel that sensation in often it happens after a meal. So I've finished a meal and then you have that kind of sensation of, what am I going to do? So usually what I do is I make myself a herbal tea, or I might snack on some seeds, some kind of seeds, or maybe even just dark chocolate. I have this dark chocolate that it took me a while to get back, to appreciate the taste of it. But you get chocolate that is actually 99% chocolate, and of course it's a superfood, the cacao. So it's a superfood, and that's really great, and it subsides my cravings. And the interesting thing is that those cravings don't last. So if you can ride the craving, and get past that moment where that craving happens, and maybe even substitute, like reframing and having something else so that you bypass it, then your body almost says, okay, we've been listening to, and often I kind of look and think, where have my emotions been? What has been happening? A lot of the times, because it's winter, my body is cold and it's craving maybe some more energy. So I feed it something, I give my body something, and I tend to it so that it's not feeling that it's just completely abandoned. But it was a very interesting thing that happened to me over Christmas, and just to experience those sugar cravings again. So that's my story about the sugar cravings.